Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Flow of Consciousness YouTube channel. I'm currently sitting in the center of Florence here in Italy, and in Italian they call it Firenze. I very much like this name, and I am sitting on the streets and I get a lot of looks from people, but I am getting used to this by now, so it's not really bothering me too much, although it's putting me a little bit in my head, but that's absolutely fine. So I read this beautiful quote in the book that I'm reading, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you are interested in how to be more creative and how to pursue your creative urges, I highly recommend you read it. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, fantastic book. And one of the things she mentions in the book is that if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Argue for your limitations and you get to keep them. And this quote really resonated with me because I think it is so true. If you argue for being a lazy person or for being a procrastinator or for being not a good enough artist, then you will get to keep those arguments. Then you will get to keep those qualities because you believe them. And whatever you believe, you will act out. You will act out as if you are lazy. You will act out as if you are a procrastinator. You will act out as if you are a bad artist because you want to stay consistent with what you believe about yourself, right? Same thing, you can apply it to basically any situation. You can apply it to, I will never get over my ex. I will never be a successful entrepreneur. I will never have a well-functioning family. There is so many situations where this quote actually applies to. If you argue for your limitations, you absolutely get to keep them because you will behave in such a way that maintains these behaviors. Now, how do you change this? By arguing for your strengths. What are your strengths? What are the things you would want to see in your life? How can you affirm to yourself that you are, in fact, capable of not being lazy, that you are, in fact, capable of having a wonderful family, that you are, in fact, capable of attracting a partner that you love and that loves you back? You are absolutely capable of doing that. So instead of arguing for your limitations, start arguing for your strengths. Start arguing for the things that you want to see happening in your life, because thoughts are one of the most powerful things in the universe. Look at all the technology that is around us. Look at these amazing buildings. They all came from thought. Somebody had the idea to build a city like this. Somebody had the idea to build the phone or the screen you're watching this video on right now. Thoughts are so incredibly powerful. So you have to understand that they have tremendous potential. They have infinite potential. In fact, they have infinite potential. So what you argue for yourself, those limitations or strengths, you will be able to either keep or develop further. And now I'm a big fan of doubling down on your strengths. I'm a big fan of doubling down on the things that you're good at, that you're naturally good at. And you can get a good idea of what those things are if you look back to your childhood. What were the things you were doing as a child? What were the things that you were naturally good at? Or what are things that you are right now also naturally good at? I believe that lots of the education system is focusing on our weaknesses. It's focusing on the things that we are not sufficiently good at. And that teaches us to focus on our inadequacies, to focus on our weaknesses. We want to equalize the playing field. We want to make sure that all our weaknesses are as good as our strengths, but that's never going to happen. You have certain talents, you have certain inclinations that are part of you, of your makeup, and I think you should play to your strengths. You should absolutely play to your strengths. So argue for your strength and they will develop even further. Okay? Now, certain weaknesses, if you maintain them in your mind, if you believe that they are weaknesses, then they will stay weaknesses. Okay? So if you, instead of focusing on them, you can argue for them to become better. You might say to yourself, I'm a lazy person. I have difficulties meeting with strangers. I have difficulties connecting with people. I have difficulties being disciplined. Is that actually really true? Because most of the time it's just an idea that you maintain, that you want to maintain because you believe it. So instead, try to believe differently. Try to believe otherwise. Start to believe that you are a person who takes action. You are a person who is able to connect with people, because in fact you really are able to do that. It's just a matter of figuring out the reason why. Really, the reason why is so important to change your day-to-day behavior, to change your attitudes. Find your why. Why is it important for you to not be lazy? Because right now it's important for you to be lazy, because maybe you're afraid. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's why you're lazy. I know that I was afraid, and that was the reason I was lazy. That was the reason I was procrastinating so much, because I was afraid. So then I decided I no longer want to be afraid. I want to help others. So my why changed. My why changed into, it's not about me, it's about you. And then all of a sudden I was no longer lazy. So figure out your why. Why do you do certain things? Ask yourself. Really take some time to look into that, because it will give you very important answers, and it will absolutely change your attitude. So stop arguing for your limitations. Start arguing for your strengths, and you will become a totally different person. Even in a few months from now, if you commit to arguing for what you're good at, for what you want to be good at, and you discover your why that is driving you, oh man, you will not believe the change that is possible. So if you, it's very hot here, so that's why I'm sweating a little bit. So again, you can apply it to, for example, if you find yourself struggling with a breakup, start arguing for the good things in your life. Start arguing for, I am going to meet someone new. I am going to meet new people. I'm going to grow as a person, instead of, I want my ex back, or I want to be inside all the time because I'm afraid that I will never love again, right? Stop arguing for these limitations, because they will turn into a reality, and that's not what you want. Maybe it actually is what you want because you're afraid, all right? So figure out that fear and then decide to conquer that fear, because you are absolutely able to do that. You are absolutely able to overcome your fears. Everybody is afraid. Everybody is afraid. And the people who are successful, those are the people who consistently conquer their fears, who consistently fight the initial resistance. And once you get used to that, you will start to feel that overcoming fear is actually a very good feeling. Once you do that, it feels very good. It's just that we forget that. We forget that. And that's why, again, you get afraid and you isolate yourself. You go into contraction. But understand that once you remind yourself that overcoming fear is a good thing, and it will make you expand, it will make you grow, and it will move you from scarcity into abundance, you can start to really overcome these fears and change your beliefs and argue for your strengths instead of arguing for your limitations. So that is all I have for you today. It's getting really hot here in the sun. As you can see, I'm like very heated up. Anyways, I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for being here. I hope it was inspiring. I hope it helped you move on from whatever situation you're dealing with right now. And again, you are destined for great things. You got so many talents. Just learn to tap into those and argue for your strengths instead of your weaknesses. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.